Hello again. We're continuing on with our depth gauge drawings. Right now we're going to do the cross piece on it, the actual brace, if you will. So we're going to do the same thing we always do. We're going to start with a simple sketch, and I'm going to go and pick on my XY axis again, or my plane, and then I'm just going to start and I'm going to sketch in some shape. This one, the part we used, I think, a 5-inch or 6-inch rod, so this needs to be relatively small as well. So I'm just going to throw a couple things in here. Now I'm just throwing in a rough shape for the cross piece. I know I can put some constraints on here and tell this piece to be parallel to that. It already is, but if I wasn't, I could force it to be. Make sure these are at right angles to each other or parallel, which they already are. So we're all good there. Now I just need to do some dimensions. So I'm going to put a dimension here, drag that up. That needs to be about an inch for what I'm thinking, because I think this should be roughly 2.5 inches. So let's make this an inch as well. That should give me a 1/2 inch in the middle. Right here, let's go 1/4 of an inch thick. That should be plenty thick for what we're doing. And then this overall depth, cancel, I didn't click the right line. This overall depth from here to here. Let's go 0.625, okay? 5/8 of an inch. That should work out well for us. You know what? Let's change that. I'm going to want to go a little deeper on my shaft right here when I put in the handle. So let's go 3/4 of an inch. So once I've got that, hit finish. And I'm just going to bring that on my screen, and we're going to extrude it, a 1/2 inch. There he is. Now, so there's my part. So now I just got to put some other stuff on it. I'm going to go to this surface right here, and I'm going to put it in the middle of my screen. And I'm going to put a point on there. Just random point, try to get it in the middle. I know that I had 2.5, so this should be about 1/4 of an inch in each way from the edge. So it's a 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch area. So that way I do that, and I'm just going to simply go here and go hole. Now my hole, my rod, I made 1/8 of an inch or 0.125. So I'm going to go 0.13. So that gives me roughly 0.2. It gives me roughly 2/1000ths, just over 2/1000 of an inch of leeway all the way around the rod. So that'll go through all, and that'll work for me. Then I'm going to go back to that same surface and sketch again. Now I've got to put another hole, but this time I'm going to have threaded. So I'm going to go put another point, and I'm going to hover. See, I get it go black on my circle edge, and I got the center marked. I can click on that center mark now and snap to it. And now I can just finish that sketch, and I can do another hole. This time I can tell it to thread it. So we're going to load up the threading tools. And it's not going to go through all, it's going to go to a depth. So instead of shooting all the way through the part, we have to have a depth on it. So come on, machine. I think my computer hates me right now. No counter bores or anything on it. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'm going to go, let's do 5/16. Okay? And we'll go with a UNF thread. I could do a UNC, but I'm going to do a UNF. It's not going to go through all. I want it to a distance, and let's say halfway through that, because I went 0.75, and that'll get us where we want to be. So that way, if you look at this, you can see my hole going through. It's going to go halfway through. The bit's going to go a little farther, but that hole goes through there. It'll help act as a funnel if we're ever shoving the rod in. Right-hand thread, so normal 2B thread. We're good. So click on that. Let's tip this up so we can see what we just got. Good. Now, last hole. I want to sketch on this surface, and I want to put it right in the side of this. So I'm going to do another point. I'm just going to slap it on here. I'm making sure I don't snap to anything, though. Reason being, I don't want to have my hole constrained to like a point when I'm trying to get it centered. I know that's 2.5 across, so I'm going to go half of that. And I probably want this to be not quite, oh, come on, like me today. Not really quite that far up. Let's go 1/4 of an inch up. That should do it. And then I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to go another hole like before. But this hole, I need it to be flat on the back end. So it's not going to be a drill point. I need a flat bit on the back. Yeah, that's probably a good depth. But I want 1/4 of an inch bolt on here. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go 0.25 because 0.25 works a lot better. But see, my distance suddenly jumps up over here. So I got to bring that back to 0.375 here and here. And that should get me where I need to be. Okay, so if I turn my hole sideways to me, see it goes through, but not all the way through. So it's not going to break my part. Threading, Yeah, I'll leave it at a 20 UNC. Yeah, that'll work fine for us. Other than that, I just have to say, okay, now my part's done. As soon as I change it to, I'd probably make this out of brass personally, but, you know, my part's done. Thanks for your time.